Yeah, so some crazy news coming out today about the First Ascendant. First and foremost, yes, the drop rates did change for this game with the recent update. Not everything changed with those drop rates, but we have word from Nexon that things are about to change for the better in the future. Some of you may have missed this news, but also, yes, some wild things happening with DPS. We're going to talk about how the performance of your game, we're talking about frames per second, can actually affect your DPS. We're going to dive into those numbers here in just a moment as well. We're talking about big time boosts here, 10 to 20% boosts, by the way. This is not small at all, but yeah, a lot to go over, and also some community feedback and your top comments. But check this out right here. So check this out, guys. Did you know that developers and programmers made an average of $100,000 per year in 2023? And that's why the team at Boot.dev, who is also the sponsor of this video, by the way, have put together an amazing set of courses that will help you learn to program and code. But it's not just your standard set of boring courses. Instead, these courses are literally set up just like an RPG video game. You'll earn XP, achievements, and level up as you complete quests. Plus, there's even an online leaderboard as well where you can check yourself against the competition. And what's really cool is that the courses are designed to be taken at your own pace. And if you ever struggle, a powerful bear wizard by the name of Boots will walk you through your issue. So he's an AI that will actually ask you questions to help you understand rather than hand you all of the answers. And you can even join the Discord group as well for more help from fellow programmers and coders. So if you want to learn back-end web development and programming languages like Python and Go, check out Boot.dev. Click on the link in the description box and use my code OpenWorldGames to get 25% off your first payment for Boot.dev. That's 25% off your first month or your first year, depending on the subscription you choose. And remember, there is a 30-day no questions asked refund policy and even a free demo of every course and its interactive features. And a huge thanks once again to Boot.dev for sponsoring this video. All right, so yeah, I say we get into this first, starting out with what was said officially by Nexon. Some of you may have actually missed this. Farming routes are going to be updating, and there's a tactic in the game called module switching, which is being frowned upon by Nexon. So let's dive into this first bit right here. The highlighted portion is what we're looking for. It says, therefore, we not only fix the bug, but also increase the amount of void shards obtained and improved the farming process to make it more convenient. This is where it gets interesting. They say this: please wait a little longer as we will significantly improve the fragment farming routes in the upcoming week 5 update scheduled for August 1st. So it seems like we do not have to wait long at all for that to actually happen. But what about this new tactic that players are utilizing that Nexon is not liking? So check it out right here. It says, recently we saw a video in the community where the Colossus was defeated more quickly through module switching. If we had a bit more time, we would have liked to include a fix for this in hotfix 1.03, but unfortunately it didn't make it into this update. The dev team does not want module switching to become another strategy. This method makes combat tedious and does not fit well in the run and gun play styles. But they did go on to say that yes, plan for this to be updated. This is not intended whatsoever. It doesn't sound like it's going to make it into the, newest update that's coming up here. It might make it into the next one after that. So I'll keep you guys in the know when that will actually drop. So yeah, we got to talk about how your performance, I'm talking about your frame rate here, can actually affect your DPS. I kid you not. Check it out. It says your DPS is tied to your frame rate. And this was a discovery by Rye Choose Games, I believe it is, and his community. As they dug into the numbers, they noticed some oddities with the numbers. They're like, hey, something just does not feel right. So they discovered, like, from going from 40 frames per second all the way up to, I think it was like 120 frames, you're seeing like 10 to 20% increase in damage. So it's highly recommended that you go in to your settings, your performance settings, and fine tune them. Don't overdo it on your performance settings because it's going to actually impact your gameplay significantly. But someone also did know about this as well right here. This is really important about this one. It says, you take more damage though, it's a trade-off. and it's similar on console Destiny 4 raids. You can take less damage to lower your FPS instead. My buddy uses his old Gen Xbox to run master raids. Wow, now that is devotion right there. So yeah, this is pretty big deal. And let me know if you guys are going to basically make your game look like a potato now to increase your damage. I'm kind of curious to see if you guys do that. But check out this post right here. It says, there's only 2 things everyone should be demanding right now. And it goes on to say, today will bring probably the largest patch since launch. Many changes as well. However, I want to take a minute to talk about the 2 core issues that should be the main focus of the community demand to be changed. Strategic outpost cooldown timer needs to be removed or reduced to about 10 seconds. Voice shard rewards need to be at least tripled. For those of you that look up my past posts or know my 2 YouTube channels, you're probably going to know I'm pretty big apologist for the game. I really like this game. I also think it had a good launch so far. I think people have been somewhat unfair in the comparisons between other games, especially like Warframe and Destiny 2, where players are comparing the First Ascendant at launch to modern day versions of these games. Yeah, that is definitely not fair. If you look at Warframe's launch, it was hardly even a game. Out of the 3, I actually think the First Ascendant has the best base game to build upon. Do you guys agree with that sentiment or not? Now, it says, that said, there are a number of design flaws that will need to be addressed, and 2 of them are basically inexcusable. These 2 issues are, of course, the strategic outposts and void shard farming. These 2 issues in their current state will kill the game within a few weeks, and I'll now explain why. Okay. First, you need to understand that most of the player base hasn't even hit the in-game Forest grinds yet. When they do, the existing problems like private regions being shared servers and the strategic outposts already being down will be even more exacerbated than they currently are. Anyone who has tried to farm in Forest material that only comes from stealth reward of a strategic outpost at like 5 to 25% chance, and then had to go farm void shards just to be able to open it for another 10% chance to get what you're actually after, will tell you that it instantly kills your enjoyment of the game. Hopping between worlds, trying to find an open strategic outpost, or even just using the failure glitch to try to farm infinitely is miserable. When the average player finally gets to this grind, they're just going to quit. I can guarantee it. So what needs to be done about it? The problem is that there's only a small window to address the issue before public favor folds on the game. It already has mixed reviews. It is unreasonable to expect or demand a core systems overhaul in that time. The devs most likely can't do that. Instead, at least for the short term band-aid, the strategic outpost cooldown timer needs to be removed, or if that's not feasible from a technical standpoint, then reduce it to 10 seconds or so. A 25% drop chance isn't as bad when you can farm 2 to 3 tries per minute. Void shards need an overhaul, but in the absence of that, they at least need to give massively more shards. There was some changes to that. I'll highlight that in just a moment. Additionally, the speed of the individual void shard events needs to be increased, either by reducing the monster kill amount required to remove the shard invulnerability or speeding up the mob spawning process. Now, the reasons these 2 issues need to be the main focus is that the more you ask for at once, the less likely you are to see specific changes. I can't think of any other issues more damning, crippling, and just unfun for this game than these 2. Yeah, and people do agree. They say, just spent most of the day grinding outposts and it's absolutely killing my enjoyment of what's supposed to be a fun co-op looter shooter. I couldn't agree more with everything you've conveyed. So a lot of people are feeling the same way, kind of getting worn out by the time they hit the end game, and this grind fest that's just way, way too intense. But yeah, just scrolling through this post, I can tell that a lot of people want eyeballs from Nexon on this post and some sort of reassurance that something here will change in time. So let's hope and cross our fingers that Nexon can actually get on this very, very soon. Someone also had an idea about how to increase your farming speed. So check it out right here. It says you should be farming the void loop in bulk. Okay, with all the attention surrounding the void shards loop, I noticed many of the complainers' method of farming, and it's absolutely wild to me. They're doing outposts until they get only 1 pattern, then farming just enough shards for 1 reactor attempt, then killing the boss for 1 6% chance, then proceeding to throw their hands up and saying, F this, I'm not doing all that again. Do these people may suggest a much more efficient and less soul-draining method of farming? First, I start by getting at least 5 of the pattern from the outpost. I load up on a private session with Sharon and stealth the outpost. I'm feeling motivated, I'll do the instant swapping cooldown trick. If I'm burnt out, I set a timer and Alt-Tab, do something else for 5 minutes. Next is the Void Charge. The biggest mistake people are making is assuming the best farm is the fragment in that same section. This is almost never the case. Check the shards you need and refer to the various charts. Look for electric, as these will be the fastest due to bunny. Also, remember, not all of these are equal in speed. For example, a 14 drop looks good, and in practice, they take much longer than a 12 due to how many kills are needed, how far they spawn, etc. If there's no electric, use this chart for the fastest fragments. I bulk farm them for at least 30 minutes. Now, start back-to-back killing the reactor bosses and pray. Lastly, remember to pace yourself if you didn't get what you wanted in the 5. First, appreciate what you did get. Catalyst BPS, activators BPS, parts you may end up farming in the future. Next, ask yourself if you feel like doing that process all over again. This is why the outposts are first and why I don't mind the outpost cooldowns. I'm usually burnt out by this time, and I can just half AFK Alt-Tab out and cool off for 5-minute intervals. Okay. Yeah, so some good points all around right there, but there were some changes that do modify farming as well, as noted here. Someone did ask this. If you're playing with a buddy and you farm the fragments, can your buddy also kill the elite bosses and get the rewards as well? Or does he need the fragments on his own to get the rewards from the bosses? Hope that makes sense. LOL. As of today's patch, they need their own fragments. A lot of people were bummed by that one, but hey, it is the way it is. All right, so now it's time to go over your top comments. Remember to leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video. So let's see what you guys have been saying. All right, so here we go. It says they need to increase the percentage chance for Descendant materials from the forest material. As it is right now, you only have a 25% chance to get one. And then you have an inconsistent chance to get Descendant materials depending on which one you're after. People love looter shooters, but if the grind is way too much, you're going to lose players. So if the devs want the First Ascendant to have a long life, they have to buff this. Seems like a lot of people agree with that one. And also, can they get rid of the cooldown on those damn outposts? Yeah, see, people are already talking about it. So the community just has like core changes that I'm seeing more and more that they want addressed. Now, it says that consumable stack limit change is wild to me. I've got almost 100 hours in, and I don't even have anything at 100K yet. Jumping the cap all the way to 100 million is insane. I guess future-proof early and never worry about it again. See, they're like very forward thinking with their updates with this game, which I do appreciate, especially with the AFK thing that they're dealing with. They don't want to hurt anyone, their own community, so they're taking their time with it, and they're first going to study what's going on. All right, so there it is. The latest happenings around the First Descendant. Stay tuned here for more news and updates. I have you guys covered, and I will see you all next time. Take care.